I'm all set. I think I'll also adjust this camera just a little bit. I think it's better now. So hi, welcome back to the channel. In today's episode or on today's video, in today's video, we're going to be talking about working in Nigeria as an emergency doctor. Literally, I'm not an emergency doctor, I'm not a specialist, but yeah, I've been working in the emergency department for more than a month now. So we are going to be talking about, or we are going to be analyzing literally the beautiful part of being an emergency doctor, the fun part of being an emergency doctor, the terrible part of the being an emergency doctor, and well, yeah, and then we'll just talk about the air part of being an emergency doctor. Today, while I was on call, I literally just got back from work and all of that. So today, while I was on call, I just all of a sudden realized that come, we've been at this for a month now. Honestly, we've been at this for a month or more. I think yeah, it's been more than a month. I started working at the emergency department. Honestly, if you want to summarize and say what has the experience been like, I would say it's been a mix of bitter and sweet, and I will explain. It's been sweet because okay, well, I get to work like twice a week. Yeah, I get to just go to work twice a week. Do I think I need to adjust this camera just a little bit more to create a little room. Yeah, I think this is better. So it's been a little bit it's been a little bit fun, I feel, yeah, because I get to see cases as they present. I get to see emergency cases, and while I was in school and all of that, I was always usually intrigued by how patients present and the immediate response of the doctors and the team to managing these cases. I don't know what is wrong with my camera, but I just feel like it's not really okay. I think it's better now. Sorry, I'm not going to shift this camera or anything. So, I've always been intrigued. While I was in medical school, yeah, I always told myself I wanted to be an emergency physician. Yeah, that was what I always told myself because I just enjoyed the whole idea that someone would come or present to you as terribly as they presented, and you were able to or stabilize this patient, even if maybe you haven't solved the issue, or maybe a patient needing emergency surgery, you've not been able to solve that issue, but at least the patient is stable enough to wait for the emergency physician, or to wait for the general surgeon, or to wait for the orthopedic surgeon. And for whatever reason, it just always intrigued me, and I was always inspired by, there was this CMD medical doctor that it's an emergency physician. I've forgotten his name, but I'll try to remember. Whenever we went to conferences, yeah, at national conferences, two occasions we went for national conferences at Abuja. Yeah, I think it was in Abuja. Yeah, I think it was JNC. Well, if you're a CMD member, you should know about this literally. So yeah, I was usually always going to his session because he usually talk about emergency medicine and all whatnot. And yeah, I was usually always inspired at his time, or when he became a consultant emergency physician. Yeah, there were no available training facilities in Nigeria at that time, so he had to go over to Ghana. I don't know, but that's the story, and I was usually very so intrigued by it. Yeah. As far back as medical school, until I now discovered there is a world of surgery, there's a world of obstetrics and gynecology and all whatnot, and I fell in love with that. But right now, I'm just trying to explain where my love for emergency medicine came from, literally. And yeah, I was usually always inspired that a patient would come in as critical as they did, and you're able to know what to do and what not to do, because I feel this is a very defining um, moment or factor in every emergency physician, knowing what to do and knowing what not to do, honestly. So, and you're able to manage these patients or stabilize these patients until the general surgeon or the orthopedic surgeon or whoever it is that needs to see this patient comes forth. Exactly, at least the patient is stable, and it's always usually intrigued me, and I feel that is the part I love most about emergency medicine so far. But my limitation about emergency medicine is that I feel we are not practicing it to the to the highest form we can possibly. Do you get? I'm always of the opinion that if we are to actually do medicine, I feel like this is the least we can ever be. Like being in a facility that doesn't have um some kind of equipment, some kind of facilities in order to manage a particular patient out. I feel like that is the least we can ever be. I want to be able to practice medicine. I want to be able to do emergency medicine. Yeah, to the highest form I can possibly want to. Whatever it is I want to do. If I want to do obstetrics and gynecology, fine, quite all right. I will learn the basics of the basic, but I want to be able to practice it like without having any form of limitation, if you get what I mean. I feel, yeah, we can always aspire to attain the highest possible level we want to. But yeah, that is by the way. I don't want to mix up my thoughts now, but I'll try to take it one at a time as they come. Although we don't have those facilities and all of that here, but we are able to do what we can with the little we have. You're able to stabilize a patient and all whatnot. So yeah, that's the fun part of emergency medicine. Yeah. And the other fun part is that you get to think on your feet, literally. Well, medicine generally requires that you're a fast thinker and all whatnot, but that you're able to remain calm despite the situation. And trust me, working in emergency ward, working in the emergency ward in this area I am in, it's not gelling if you think it properly. Do you get? Some of the nurses tell me that, "Ah, I'm too calm and all of that." I'm like, this is the way I am. You don't expect me to become violent or to start, being harsh and all of that because I am in the emergency department. I don't know if you get, but there's a certain level of firmness and a certain level of, you know, what's the word, I don't want to say aggressiveness or violence or whatever that Nigerians understand, but if you get what I mean, you have to show that you, in my own explanation, I would feel like you have to show that you know what you're doing. Yeah, you have to appear like you know what you're doing first of all before the people will even want to trust you. You get, before they will even want to give you a chance. But generally, Nigerians, they are most impatient people. Yeah, they are like, just do this damn thing, let's be on our way. I don't know if you get what I mean. And you have to have a certain level of, should I say, toughness, yes, to be in the emergency department. But for this past one month, I feel like I've been able to survive it all. Yeah, I feel like I've been able to survive it all. And funny enough, yeah, my very weird realization in emergency departments so far has been that I've gotten to understand why surgeons, or why surgeons, why emergency physicians, sometimes when I went to the A&E and they are just shouting orders and backing orders and all whatnot. Yeah, because a patient's life is at risk. For instance, you have a trauma case. Yeah, a patient's life is at risk, and yeah, sometimes the people you're working with, the nurses and all whatnot around, might just freeze, or they might not know what they are doing, or they may know what they are doing, but like, in the whole commotion of the situation, get my point. In the whole commotion of the situation, yeah, everybody is panicking and all whatnot. You have to be able to be the one in charge and know exactly what you want them to do at this particular point in time. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say, yeah. So in all of that, I feel like they've been expecting me to have, should I say, toughened up, or, but I'm tough, but like in my own way. I don't need to back orders and all whatnot. I need to just tell you what I need to tell you in the plainest possible terms and get my message across. And I feel that is what I've been should I say prioritizing? Because sometimes a lot can be lost in translation. Maybe you see a particular patient and you know this particular patient is very critical. What do you do? Do you just keep managing the patient, or do you discuss with the relative? You tell the relative this is the situation at hand so that they are better prepared for whatever else is to come. But wait, that is my weird realization about why they back orders, why they maybe raise their voices and all whatnot. But I don't think I've had the chance, or I don't think I've had the need to do that. Yeah, but I'm just getting like, I just realized we had a trauma case a couple days back, and yeah, I just noticed that there was a little bit of delay in time, a delay in doing stuff, delay in this. And in that instant, you needed to, um, fill up the gap. You needed to, get them back on their feet and get them back in the rhythm, literally. Yeah, I think that's a better explanation for it. Yeah, so that was my realization in that is my realization so far in emergency department. And I feel these are the fun parts, or these are the fun things I feel that I've experienced so far in the emergency ward so far. Yeah. And there's also this part of you're the one in charge. Now there's this the burden of the responsibility. I am the doctor in charge of the emergency department, like whenever I'm on call, whenever I'm on duty. So everything that literally happens in the emergency department, whether the nurses are doing this, whether they need to do this, whether, yeah, whatever it is that needs to be done, there's this burden of the responsibility, and you never get used to it. In all honesty, I don't think, well, I haven't gotten used to it, but this is just my, well, a little more than a month in the emergency department, and yeah, I'm sharing my experience. Well, I haven't gotten used to the you just always feel the burden of the responsibility, no matter how you want to see it. Yeah, maybe there are no patients, whatever. You are always feeling that burden of the responsibilities. You know that if push comes to shove, yeah, you need to make decisions. You need to make very quick decisions. You need to, yeah, stuff like that. Exactly. So let's go over to, if I think about, or if I remember any other fun part of being in the emergency department, I'm sure I'm going to share. But let's go over to the air part of being in the emergency department. It comes with a lot of it takes a toll on your nightlife. Let me put it that way, because what we do here is a 24-hour shift system. And where I did my housemanship here, they do like, you can have like four different emergency physicians in a day. They don't do the 24-hour shift. So I was always, my notion of emergency department was always that, well, you have four different shifts here, no matter how you want to see it. So you have four different people working the emergency room. But here you are freaking working 24 hours, and you have to be there from 8 a.m. till 8 a.m. of the following day. Yeah. So it takes a toll on your night's life. Sometimes I wake up the following day and I don't even care to know what day it is. I just want to sleep, and yeah, sleep, and I feel like I'm owing. I don't know how to. I have sleep deficits. Let me call it like that. Like I need to sleep the sleep that I wasn't able to sleep. If not, I'm not going to function the way I need to function throughout the day. I might get cranky. I might get lousy. I might just be home doing nothing. And except I have slept, when I come back, shower, eat, I just need to sleep for a lot of hours. But then most of the time, yeah, I'm not able to sleep uninterrupted like that, because I'm so used to, okay, in the night a patient comes and I'm up and I'm on my feet. Do you get? So it feels like, I need to wake up. I need to wake up, just like that. And before you know it, you've woken up like 4 hours, four times in a space of how many hours? And yeah, it can get really messy like that. But I try to balance. I try. I feel like I've found a little rhythm to this. Yeah. That's, yeah, you come back from work, you have to settle in a little gradually and all of that. You don't expect it to go back to normal that quickly. only to go back to the whole 24-hour call again later on, if you get what I mean. Yeah. So I think that's the air part of being, well, if we maybe operated a different kind of shift system, maybe a 12-hour shift system, I feel that would be a lot more better, honestly, because nobody wants to be working when they are already exhausted, actually. And in that 24-hour, you have to factor in your feeding, whether you have to know when you want to go and get something to eat. Do you get? You have to just allocate time. Yeah, just like that. And the kind of food you get to eat at the hospital may not be the one you want to. So yeah, if you need to prepare your food and all of that, so it comes with all of that sour parts, let me call it like that. But yeah, it's something you get used to as the time go on, and I feel like I'm getting used to it. Yeah, because I need to meal prep for the week or for the weekend usually, just like that, and it carries me. It takes me through the week, and yeah, I feel a little better knowing that I'm going to eat home cooked meal when I get back from work. Sorry. So now on to the not so fun part of emergency medicine. Now I feel like, yeah, we are, I don't want to say, yes, we are limited. No matter how you want to see it, I feel like we are limited so much in the rural areas in Nigeria, because I feel like there are some places too you get to go to and they have a lot of facilities, they have necessary things, they have 247 laboratories and all of that that are ready and willing to do whatever investigations and whatever thing you need to do for a particular patient. But here in some other areas, rural areas, you're very much limited. You're very much limited, especially on weekends. And unfortunately, that is when most of my calls take place. Yeah, most of my calls take place during the weekend. So you get to see a particular patient and you need an investigation to be done ASAP, as soon as possible, and you're faced with this, the labs are closed. Well, there are some investigations you can get to do at that particular time, but then there are some that, forget it, you cannot get the result of this investigation today. So you're faced with the burden of sending these patients outside to do this investigation and bringing the results to you. And that alone is already an inconvenience to both you and to the patient, because number one, most times some patients don't return. Now we'll talk about this later on. Do you get patients that just dama from go and do this investigation, either maybe due to financial constraints, or maybe I don't know, for whatever other reason they might not want to come back. But I feel this is the major part. You tell them to do an investigation and they just dama from there. And yeah, the whole difficulty of transportation. Some patients are not mobile, so you need to prepare the ambulance to take them. So that's an additional cost for them. And a lot of those patients don't have the money. Either maybe they have the money or they don't just want to spend that much money on an ambulance to take them to do an investigation and to come back and all whatnot. Yeah. And it's also a risk to the patient. What if you're managing a very critical patient and you need this patient to do this investigation? The cost of transporting that patient, if you need to do that with an ambulance, or the whole inconvenience of it all, it's telling. Honestly, I feel for most of the patients that I send to do these investigations, but I need that investigation in order to be able to manage you properly. You get, I've done what I can, you're stable and all of that, but then we need to move on. We need an investigation in order to invite a specialist and all of that. And yeah, you get the point. So it can be really frustrating. That whole time thing can be really frustrating. Those kind of nitty gritties, those kind of small things can be really very inconveniencing, especially for the patients. And for you that care for the life of your patient and all whatnot, it can be, you can place you on a very sour spot. Let me say it like that actually. Now, the other part of being a medical physician, of being an emergency, or working in the emergency department, what am I saying? Yeah, is that it comes with a lot of, and I say this because this past week has been crazy. It comes with a lot of emotional burden. The physical burden is there no matter the kind of job you do, so it's always there. But then the other part it comes with, it's a lot of emotional bag, a lot of emotional, but it takes a toll on your emotions. And just recently, I got to start thinking about why some doctors are the way they are. You meet some doctors and they are profit oriented, like they don't even hide it. They tell you, what can I gain from this patient, what can I you go to some facilities and they know they cannot be able to manage cases, and they just keep you there, take your money and all whatnot, and still give you medications and still have to refer you to another facility and stuff like that. Yeah. So yes, that is, I get to just start understanding why some doctors are the way they are. Yeah, some others are completely out of touch with their empathic side, honestly. And this week has freaking taught me. I know I got a lot of instances like this during house job and all whatnot, but this is a different ball game entirely. This is like first hand seats, or first row seats to the cinema. If you've ever been to the cinema, I love the cinemas, by the way. If you've ever been to the cinemas, you know that this is like a front row seat to the big screen. Damn it, this is like a front row seat, because you get to see, unfortunately you get to see a lot of patients that are brought in dead. And I mean brought in dead, and you have to be very careful. I've had I've had two situations like this. Yeah. I've had two situations. Or they are brought in there, or they are brought in really very critical, that that by first mere looking at this patient, you know that this patient is not going to make it. And what breaks my heart the most, yeah, is that most of these patients, yeah, are neonates. They were literally just giving birth to today, and it is crazy. And if you're not careful, they are going to rope you into it. If you're not freaking careful, bringing your patient dead. So, what do you want me to do? You want me to do magic and do what exactly? And I was particularly pissed. Like, sometimes I just get so upset. Now brings me to the next part of the most unfun thing about the emergency department, or the working in the emergency department, is that no matter how your your experience with a particular patient went, maybe you just finished seeing a patient that was brought in dead, you have to move on to the next patient. Like, you freaking have to move on to the next patient. And thank God for the nurse. Thank God for the nurses. I work with very beautiful, very diligent, very hardworking nurses, honestly. And honestly, that is one of the best parts of my job. Honestly, working with very good people. Like, I cannot place more emphasis on it. Like, working with the best set of people just reduces your workload or work stress by half. Yes. And immediately after I was done with this patient, you have to move on. You have a trauma case. You have another patient, a 70-year-old that is very already deteriorating and all of that. You have to be quick. Like, it doesn't, you don't have time to be sad. There is no freaking time to start being all like, I know you want to be empathic and all of that, but you don't have the time. When you see movies and you see that a doctor is spending so long time um consoling a family and all of that, sometimes you have to give this bad news straight up and then move, because another patient's life depends on it. I wish there was somebody that just gives this bad, somebody that whose job is to be giving bad news. But then you've seen this patient, and no matter how you want to say that you're not feeling, or you're detached from the whole situation and all, it gets to you. Honestly, it gets to you. Oh God. And most times you come home and you're just reminiscing on the day. You're just reminiscing on how the day went, and you're like, is this what I have to go through? Is this what I have to keep doing? Times when they say you need very high medical or clinical acumen in order to practice medicine in Nigeria, in most rural places, it's actually very true, because you cannot be waiting for a result of investigation to come before you start managing your patients, if you get what I mean. So yes, a lot of times we are limited by what we do have, and yeah, we try to do as best as we possibly can for the patients. But yeah, your hands are tied, and most times, which is why I said that, yeah, I now understand why a lot of doctors are so out of touch with their empathic side. And now also know why they keep pondering on the fact that you should not let go of your compassion, of your empathy, because that is what makes you human. That is what is going to make you a better doctor, honestly. Because if a patient comes in and you're like, well, I don't bloody care if this patient makes it or not, and you just do things as casually or whatnot as you possibly can, how are you going to ever become a better doctor? But it is out of the compassion and empathy you have in your heart that will make you want to do things speedily and, yeah, as fast or as best as you possibly can. Even if you know this patient don't stand the chance, but at least put in the effort, do things that is going to, should I say, help the situation as best as it can. Honestly, ah. So I say all of this to say that working as an emergency doctor, working in the emergency department, I think that's a better choice of word. Yeah, has been has been a roller coaster of emotion. Has been a freaking roller coaster of emotion, honestly. Because some days you just feel so good because your patients are doing well. Yeah, you managed the patient a couple days ago, and the patient, yeah, just comes to say hi and all of that, and it's just been beautiful. Honestly, it's just been beautiful. And then it's also just been really crazy at the same time. I'm so sleep deprived. I literally just got back from work. I need to rest and all whatnot. But that's by the way. Thankfully, thank God, we had a calm shift yesterday. And I pray for more shifts like that. I pray that people don't get sick. Is that a good prayer to pray as a doctor? But yeah, it's fine. Yeah, I pray that people don't fall sick. What the hell? So I think so far my experience have been good so far. And to crown it all is that you get the opportunity of seeing a whole variety of cases. You get the opportunity of seeing a whole lot of patients. You get the opportunity of making those decisions, those things that you read in textbooks, those things that you saw in your book and all whatnot. It's time to practicalize it. And sometimes what helps me, I'm a very visual learner, I think. Yeah. I need to be in class. I need to see you do stuff. And those times or those instances where I made myself available during house job, yeah, during postings and all whatnot in the A&E, during in the wards and all of that. This is where I picked up skills. Nobody taught me how to do suturing. You're not taught these things. You just make yourself available. You've done it once or twice. All those times when I was passing chest tubes and doing sutures and all whatnot. Like sometimes when I'm doing the things I do, I think about the people that taught me these things. And I am forever grateful. Now, if you're a medical student watching this video, take your experiences, take your posting serious. If you're somebody that does visual learning and all whatnot, you have to be there to quite understand what is happening. Take it very seriously, honestly, because the you don't know when the next patient is going to come. You don't know if you're going to ever have the opportunity of learning that thing again. Honestly, something that keeps biting me even till now is that I never got to do as much femoral cannulation as I would want to. Honestly, that is sometimes I stay like this and I think, why didn't I do as much? Well, house job and all whatnot. You cannot be in two places. And I was in freaking neurology. When was I going to? Well, these are just excuses, but definitely you can learn it. Pick up that skill. I made a video about the skills you need to learn as the skills you need to learn as a house officer during house job. So yeah, watch that video if you haven't. Honestly, these are things that are going to literally help you assist in surgeries if you can. It's not that so that you can start doing surgeries. Just pick up the skills, pick up something, pick up. Do you get casually? You get to pick up skills. You get to know how to manage situations, and you get to even study, because I feel that is one beautiful thing this emergency department has given me. Well, I also had that when I was working in the clinic in the OPD and all, but yeah, this is just on another different level. You get to read on the job. You get to come back and read about the cases you saw and how best to manage these cases and all whatnot. Yeah, I feel that has been my experience so far in the emergency department, honestly. So here is to many more months. I don't know. I don't know if I really want to remain here. But yeah, I'm kind of indifferent at this point. If I move to the OPD or if I remain in the emergency department, I don't know. But yeah, it's been a beautiful experience so far. It's been a beautiful experience so far. If you're in an emergency physician, what are the odds? Please just tell me what is the fun thing that keeps you going in the emergency department. If you would love to be or work in the emergency department, tell me why you would even consider it. Tell me, is it because maybe it is one of the very lucrative areas currently in medicine generally, because I feel it's having or it's getting a buzz currently in Nigeria especially. But yeah, I think that's that for this video. I need to go and eat and shower. I need to just get food at this point. I'm just so famished. Yeah, I think that's that for this video. Please, if you're yet to subscribe, subscribe now. Yeah, subscribe now and welcome to the family. We had a couple new subscribers a while back, and I'm so blessed and so grateful you're here. Yeah, lovely to have you here. Do well to watch other videos if you're yet to do that. And I'm going to catch you guys in the next one. Love you always. I remain Dr. NGM, Dr. Njoku Matters. Peace.